Hello everybody, welcome to a new video. My name is Evi and I read books. Let's get into first of all why January and February together. Well, I have read 10 books in total, but I didn't really have time to film videos and to edit them to actually upload a wrap up. So I decided to do this January and February at once. A little bit statistic wise, I have read those 2 months 3 audiobooks, 3 paperbacks, 2 ebooks, and 2 hardcovers. Star rating wise, it was a pretty 2 average months. It was pretty average. I had some DNFs. I had non-exact great book, but I had more or less normal books. So I had 2 DNFs, 1 2-star rating, 5 3-star ratings, and 2 4-star ratings. The first book I actually finished in January was an audiobook, so that's why I just I got my earplugs for a second, and that was American Dirt by Janine Cummings. It was a pretty average book. I did like the premises and I did like the story, but it kind of fell flat in the middle for me. It was a little bit repetitive and, like I said, fell flat for me in the middle. So I gave that a 3.3 stars. So American Dirt is, I think, from in Mexico. They're about people who are running away from this gang and their story while running, and meet the people they meet and the things they go through while they're on the run. The next book is my first paperback, and that was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. It's the first time reading any of the Mortal Instruments. I watched the Shadowhunter series, and I think that made it less of a book for me. Or I knew the story, and I knew the story already, so in the end I was like, okay, I know what's gonna happen, so why it doesn't just happening. So maybe if I didn't watch the series before, I might enjoy this more. I did still enjoy it, and I think I will continue on with this series, but more like a slow series I'm continuing on, and not like one that I have to read immediately. I gave this book 3.1 stars. My Goodreads and Storygraph ratings are, by the way, also always rounded up or down to an amount of star rating. These star ratings are the ratings I get through using Cowpile. So in case you're wondering, like 3.1, 3.3, why is that a weird rating? It's just because I use Cowpile. So this is the first book in the Mortal Instruments series, and it's about Clary, whose mother actually sort of got kidnapped for the Mortal Cup, and the Shadowhunter world is introduced in this book. She realizes she sees people that other people don't really see, not like dead people, but like the Shadowhunters. And it brings her into why her mother is kidnapped and what those weird creatures are that she sees and encounters in the entire story. And we're still in January, so the next book I read was My True Love Gave to Me by Stephanie Perkins and a bunch of other authors. Holly Black, Ellie Carter, Metala Pena, Gail Foreman, Jenny Han, and so on and so on. This is a short story collection with all winterish holiday love stories, and I so enjoyed this one. I was wanting this book for a very long time, and my Secret Santa from my book club bought it for me because I put it on my list, because I have been putting this one on my list for like almost every year and never really got it, and right now I finally got it. So there's not really a synopsis to tell. It's 12 different stories. Some of them are more romance based, some are fantasy based, some are, well, contemporary based. They're really nice, and some of them I like more than the others. So that's why I gave this entire book an overall rating of 3.4 stars, because some of those authors I really want to read more of, and I really enjoyed the writing. Others I thought, like, you know, not my thing, but still okay. Then my first DNF, and that was Assertiveness Training by Luke Caldwell. I was reading this book because I needed to be a little bit more assertive for my internship, and I thought maybe I can help by reading some self-help books about it. But I realized really quickly actually that this book was interesting, but not something that is gonna help me, because it wasn't really accurate for what I needed to get out of a book. The next book I read was a Dutch book, and it was an ebook, and that was Waarom moet ik u tegen jou zeggen? I got this book as a review copy, and this is actually the 2-star that I gave. I have a review on it on my Instagram, but it was such a difficult book for me to get through. Not always the biggest reader of historical books. I do not mind reading them once in a while, but sometimes I just don't feel Historical thriller horror, yes. Historical contemporary romance, not always. It was pretty new for me, but the synopsis was interesting. So that's why I said yes to reviewing this one. And I've been just completely honest, I have been pushing myself through reading this book to the point that I actually didn't really feel like reading anything else in January. More two parts in the story. The first part was really slow and really not my thing, and the second part was a bit better, but not enough to actually call this, for me, a good book. I can understand that people would enjoy it, but I just did not enjoy it. Romance story based on the author's grandparents, if I'm correctly, during the World War. Then I have a book that I loved so much. I think I mentioned it in the reading vlog that I loved it so much that I got this as a present for my birthday from one of my best friends, and that is Evi Reads Books. So I think literally translated, the original book is called Fashion for Moscow, but I think it's a Dutch or Belgian author. It's amazing. This book is amazing as a present, but the story itself was pretty average. I have told that my best friend too, like he would cast like, oh, how was the story? I was like, the story itself is average, but it's one of my most cherished gifts ever because of the fact that it's my name and his name, and it's totally personalized to our names. The story itself is about a murder that happens, and the detective actually knows the suspect and used to date the suspect, even knows the suspect, and it's a murder mystery about it. Like I said, it was a pretty average story. I kind of knew what's going to happen and how it was going to end up, and it was fun to read, and I loved the story. I love this book and as a gift form, but the story itself, I gave it 3.1 stars because, like I said, it was pretty average. So those were the books from January, so let's get on to the books from February. The first book of February that I finished was an audiobook, and that was Nice Girls Don't Get a Corner Office. And I DNF'd that one too, kind of for the same reason as Alok Caldwell's assertiveness training. Kind of read it for those trying to get some tips and tricks, but same thing, it was more business related then, and I'm in the healthcare industry, so I didn't really need business related stuff. I needed education, student related, and healthcare industry related stuff more. I might have got stuff out of that book if I continue reading it, but I didn't really feel reading or finishing it at the moment. So then a book that I do love, and that is Dagboek van een Verloskundige by Marlies Kroes. It's also a non-fiction book, but this is a non-fiction book I enjoyed a lot. This is literally translated Diary of a Midwife. It's a book about a midwife and her stories, what she encounters in her job and in her personal life, but mostly in her job. Beautiful stories, lovely stories. For the people who don't know, I am studying to become a midwife, so I thought it was really nice to see how this works, how this healthcare industry actually worked for her. She is self-employed. She's also a self-employed midwife and a Dutch one, so it's not completely adapted to the Belgian standards, but I think most of that is pretty much the same, and I gave it 3.7 stars. So I would advise, if you read in Dutch and you're interested in the job or something, read that book, or maybe get it out of the library or something if you don't want to spend money on it. I got it for my birthday and I love it. Then again, I read another audiobook. Like I said, I was on my internship, and then I have to travel like 3 hours almost a day, and the book I read was 3 Hours by Rosamund Lupton. It's an audiobook. It was pretty average. I gave it 3 stars. Wrap up is pretty average because that's, I think, the word I'm constantly using. The book is about a school shooting. I love the premises and the subject it's talking about, but I didn't really like the execution that much, as in sometimes I thought the writing style was pretty boring and repetitive. Sometimes I just felt that the writing was a little prolonging everything, and that I didn't need it to be prolonged. The story didn't grab me like I thought it would be. I need to be a little bit quicker because my battery is almost about to die and I do not have spare battery. And then the last book I'm talking about is the Romeo and Juliet Mysterie by Joran van den Einde. It's a Dutch YA thriller series, and it's the first one in the series. I have read this one 2 or 3 years ago and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't really remember anything for it. And for the Booklanter's book club, we are reading that one again. We actually are reading every month a book, but I'm not gonna catch up on that because I just am not reading the second book. Okay, so this is about a young girl, Erica, who sees her boyfriend Marco die in front of her. Then she realizes Marco's boss is actually the head of a spy division who works with children. Kind of got a little bit of a Sherlock vibe to it, but it's really good and it's great that it's Belgian, obviously. I gave this book 3.9 stars. So she's a side, and then actually this first story goes more about the fact that she's tagging along. She gets into the team Mortis, so the team of the dead, to track down the missing ballet dancers in Italy. So those were all the books I read in January and February. I needed to speed up a little bit because of the fact that apparently my battery is about to die. And so I only have one question: how many books have you read in January and February? If you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you next time. Bye!